welcome back to my channel. I'm acrylic artist Joni Young, and today I'm going to be showing you step by step how to paint a snow globe on this 20 by 24 canvas, or whatever size canvas that you have will work for this. And I'll be posting all of the colors, brushes, everything we're using today in that description down below, so just scroll down there to see a list of everything. I'm just going to run through the colors really quickly for you right now. So we've got cadmium red. And a lot of you guys are asking what brand of paints that I use. This one's Winsor Newton. So brilliant purple. We're going to be using this color as well. And this is a Liquitex brand. And then I've got my Phthalo blue, which is my favorite. And it's golden acrylic. So, you know, I use a wide variety of different brands of paints. Sap Green, or any dark hunter green that you have. So you don't have to use these specific colors or brands that I have today. There are many variations of these colors that you can use. So any dark green, any blue that you want, and any purple or any red. Now I've also got my Holbein. So when it comes to neon paints, these ones are my favorite. This is a Holbein, and no, I'm not sponsored or an affiliate of this brand, though I wish I was. I really love these paints. So we've got neon orange and neon yellow. And like I said earlier, you can use any yellow or orange that you've got, okay? All of those colors will work. And yeah, so I'm going to show you step by step exactly how to paint your very own magical looking snow globe. So let's go ahead and get started.
Now for this painting, I want to do a background full of spheres or circles, and I'm going to use my largest fan brush that I've got. And I want to get it wet first, and then I'm going to load both sides very generously with phthalo and purple. So I'm pushing and pulling and turning to load that brush, and I'm going to line it up, push flat, and twist it around. I want the background to look hazy and very soft and kind of blurry, and it's going to look like there's maybe lights, glowing lights in the background mixed with snowflakes. It's just a really, really pretty effect and very easy to do using a fan brush. You can do this with other brushes too. I show that and demonstrate that in my last tutorial video of the lantern in the snow. I did something very similar to this with lots of other colors. Now I'll leave the link for that in my description below if you guys want to take a look at that video as well. So I'm going to do some larger ones here. Now to make them larger, you could use a larger brush, or you just push flat and use the whole width of the brush. And then if you want to make smaller ones, then you're just going to let off on the brush a little bit, and that'll just automatically make them shorter and smaller in size. So I'm going to make some lighter purple, taking some titanium white, and I'm going to just kind of go back and forth to blue, purple, white, making them lighter and darker all over the canvas. And then down at the very bottom, it's going to be a blanket of snow that snow globe is going to be resting on. So I've been wanting to paint a snow globe for quite some time. This is my first ever, and I'm really excited to be doing this finally. I just have always had a fascination with snow globes, and especially old-fashioned ones that just kind of give you that old world feel of Christmases a long time ago, and vintage type of feel to it. So that's kind of what I wanted to create in this painting today. I wanted it to have that feel to it. So I'm going to be doing some kind of a scroll pattern effect on the base of the snow globe to give it more of that old-fashioned look. So I'm going to be using a few different brushes today. So the fan brush, of course, we'll be using a square flat brush, a liner brush, a few different sizes, and a Filbert brush as well for some snow on those trees. So I'm going to be overlapping these a lot, as you can see. That helps to create this really pretty pattern that we're building up. And don't think that you have to stick to the blue and the purple and the white. You can use any kind of pastel colors you want for this background. Turquoise, I actually am going to be incorporating some turquoise here pretty soon. You could use some pink, kind of any blue you want, any purple, pink, turquoise will all look really pretty as a background for this painting. So I've got a few more winter paintings coming up for you guys on my channel, and then I'm going to be wrapping that up, and I'll be beginning my floral series for January. And I'm really excited about that. I'm going to be doing a lot of close-ups, a little bit more detailed florals, roses, irises, lilies. If you guys have any requests of something that you specifically want to learn how to paint or just watch me paint, then leave a comment down below. I want to mention that I am grabbing some water here and there, depending on how much I want the paint to blend out of my brush. And you see here, it's a little bit drier. That is so I can see, I want those rings, that pattern of those rings to be left on the canvas. So if I'm adding more water, that's not going to happen. But there are some areas of the painting that I want to be a little bit more subdued and a little bit more blurry. So just, you can go back and forth with the water to the dry brush. And again, I'm just adding some shadows up here, so they're going to be darker with less white in them. And then I'm going to pull in some white, and I'll make some lighter colored ones. I love phthalo and this light purple together so much. They're so pretty. And then when I add the turquoise, it just gets even prettier. You can't go wrong with this light purple phthalo and turquoise. So I've got my puppy Tilly keeping me company as always in my studio. She's just down off to the right there. You guys will see her every so often throughout this video. At one point I don't know how I managed to drop a paintbrush on the floor and not realize it, but she got a hold of it, and I caught her just in time before she was able to eat any of it, but she did destroy it. Okay, so now I'm going to pull in some of this turquoise, you guys, and I'm going to blend it with a little bit of titanium white. Load both sides. And I didn't even wash my brush out first. There's still a little hint of whatever's left over in it, like the blue and the purple. And I'm just going to twist my brush around and bring some over here on the right side. Sometimes I'm going to pick up more turquoise and I'll have less white. So we definitely want to have that variation of tone. And now I'm going to go back to some purple and some blue. I'm not washing my brush in between. Just need a little bit of water. Okay, and this is exactly when I noticed that she had that paintbrush. I'm glad it wasn't one of my more expensive ones, and most importantly, I'm glad that she didn't ingest any of that. Okay, so I'm going to get some phthalo. Look how pretty they are together. Phthalo and turquoise. And this time I'm not blending them too much on the palette itself. I want them to swirl together and make a really pretty pattern here on the canvas. Let's bring some of that blue and turquoise over here. Okay, so I'm going to just create a few little ones down here, but this bottom part of the painting is going to be a blanket of snow, so I'm not going to worry too much about adding all those or creating all those little rings down here. So I'm just going to scumble out the rest of that paint. And I'm switching over to a flat brush. I'm going to take some white, a little bit of turquoise. And I'm just going to do a wavy little line. Lots of little wavy lines down here on the bottom to create little peaks and hills and little pockets of snow and shadows down on the bottom. And then I'm just going to kind of soften a few of these here on the left. Just going to brush softly back and forth. Okay, now using just a little bit of white, I'm going to start this shape of the snow globe. So it's almost a full circle. And I don't know if you guys have ever painted a bubble before, but a snow globe is very similar to painting a bubble. So you're going to have some dark lines and you're going to have some very bright lines for some highlights. So again, just white, very thin line of it, using this flat brush. Now you could use a liner brush if you want. I find that I have more control with a flat brush. And so I'm going to just add the light and shadow inside of this globe and then begin building up to the landscape inside of it. Take some of that phthalo and purple again. Let's add a little bit of it right inside of that highlight, all the way down to the base. And now scumble softly. Now we'll take some more of the blue and then pull up from the bottom right, almost up to the top. We'll do a little dark patch right here. And make it a little bit thicker. And then we'll just mix a little bit of white and make it a softer shade at the top there. Okay, let's come in with a little bit more highlights now. Pull up and over. And I'm just going to dab and blend around some white and blue at the base. And now I've got white on the very end of my brush. Quite a bit to work with. And I'm barely touching the canvas. Pull and then dab. Okay, I want another little highlight right here. And I'm going to brighten up this area as well. And some blue. We'll add a little bit of shadow right in here, just straight phthalo blue. And we'll go carefully on the outside of that. So what we're trying to do at this point is separate this globe from the background because it's just blending in too much. So we need more light, more highlights, and more shadow, more definition and contrast. But we also want to keep it nice and soft at the same time. So I don't want to use black. I don't want to use anything too dark that's going to change that feeling of the painting. Okay, back to that phthalo. Bring in some shadow right here. Now I can rework these swirls in the background. That's not a big deal. I just need to make sure that I've got the shadow where it needs to be and the light where it needs to be in order for this snow globe to really pop out. Okay, I want to go ahead and add a little bit more of the blue on this right side, creating some more shadow. Doing this will help draw our eyes into the center of the canvas where that snow globe is. Okay, we're going to go back to our large fan brush now, get it a little bit wet. And let's pull in some of this hunter green or sap green mixed with the blue. And let's start twirling that brush around, creating some more color over on this right side. Now that sap green mixed with the phthalo blue is so pretty. If you have phthalo green, go ahead and use that too. That'll look beautiful. And I'm just going to pull in a little bit of titanium white to these two colors as well. A little bit of it up over here. Okay, so now I'm going to switch over to a small round brush. Taking some turquoise and some white, a little bit of water on my brush, and I'm going to start to create small little orbs. Or little snowflakes or stars, whatever you want them to be. In fact, I am going to make one or two of them have a little star effect, a little twinkle to them. So I'm going to dot the inside of some of them with some white and then pull and flick to make it look like a little star. We'll put a few more up here. Again, dab the middle with a little bit of that white. Okay, I'm going to just finish up with this other little star over here and then start working on the globe a bit more. Taking more of the white, a bit of blue, a little bit of purple, I'm going to start pulling some in right here, right underneath and around where that bright white is. I want to define this bright highlight. I'm going to go above it a little bit too. And I'm going to take red and sap green. Now I decided to pick red to mix with the green because they're complementary colors and I know that they will make each other look nice, and because it's a Christmas themed painting, I want to incorporate some red wherever I can in this painting. So I'm just going to be pulling in a little bit right on this left side here. And then I'm going to even add some neon pink to it later. If you don't have the colors I'm using, like I said before, you can use any red you have or any pink you have. You don't have to use the neon colors that I have. I just love them because they're so bright and intense and enjoyable to use. I'm going to mix this bit of red and green with a bit of the white. So I'm getting kind of making kind of a brown color, bit of an earth tone here, mid-tone. And though it's not the prettiest color, it's important to have these mid-tone colors and earth tones in your paintings. Just it helps balance out all the color that you're using. So I'm going to mix up a bit more of that titanium and cad red. Pull it over part of the light blue here. And then pick up a little bit more blue and white. Okay, so I'm going to soften this area up with some white, brighten it up a little bit. Okay, some more phthalo. Let's pull a little bit more blue and purple right here. Some more red. Now I'm not washing my brush off in between, I'm just picking up more color. Before I began this turquoise, I did wash all that color out though. I don't want these to be brown, that's for sure, so make sure your brush is clean. And then you can start layering over some more turquoise and white. This area right here, this kind of a blob, is going to be a really pretty peachy yellowy color later on, and I want it to be bright white first so we have a nice base to work with. You don't want to put orange or yellow over top of the blue, or we're not going to achieve that color that we want. I decided to just come over with a little bit of blue right here, and then I'm going to rework the highlight a little bit later. And take a bit of that sap green and just add some shadow around and behind this globe. Pick up a little bit of red as well. Maybe there's a poinsettia flower back there somewhere. Just want to be able to pull in some red. And poinsettias are really beautiful and Christmassy. All these colors look so nice together. It's not going to be defined, it's just a patch of color we've got here, and that's what's going to be reflecting inside of the globe up on the left side. So now I've got purple, and I'm going to pull around this side of the globe, create some more atmosphere and shadow. Now just taking a damp fan brush, I'm going to scumble around and swirl and try to tie this into all those swirls in the background. It's a really pretty smoky purpley color, and I got that by mixing the phthalo, the purple, and a little hint of that red in there. And now I'm picking up sap green and phthalo blue, and I'm going to blend that in as well. Start making some more swirls. Now it's okay to pull them over part of that red, and even if you pick up a little bit of that red, it'll still be really pretty. I'm going to go back to my little round brush, and I'm going to take some of that light bluey purple with white and just create a few little tiny orbs in around here. Now I'm working wet on wet, so each time I do this I'm picking up a little bit of that color that's underneath, creating lots of shades of different pastel colors. Just going to start working on the base a little bit more here, and I'm going to be using sap green and red for the base, the stand for this snow globe, and I'm going to be doing 3 little layers for the stand, and I'm going to come in with metallic gold paint and a liner brush later on and paint freehand scroll pattern that's going to be really, really pretty, and just make it look like it's a really old-fashioned antique kind of looking snow globe. And that's really what I'm after in this painting. I just love old-fashioned Christmases. So here we go. I'm doing 1, 2, and then 3, so it gets wider. It's going to be shorter for that top one, that first one, and then the next one gets a little bit longer or wider, and then the bottom one's going to be the widest. Now you could pick any color you want to paint your stand. I am once in a while picking up a little bit more blue or a little bit more green, and then later on I even pull in a little bit of gold. I will pick up a little bit of purple, a little bit of pink. So I basically just want to get the shape of it down right now, and then I'll come in with all those little details later. So I'm just using some Sap Green and some Phthalo, and I'm going to paint the bottom portion of this stand using those colors, and then I'm going to follow around the outside of the globe and make it a little bit darker. Just want to start making these highlights stand out a bit more. So dark inside and then outside, leaving that highlight there. And then some more of the circle orbs. Okay, back to some highlights. Gonna pull a faint white line right over the top. There we go. And let's redefine these highlights here. Right down the side. Using straight white paint for this, no water on my brush. And I'm taking a little bit of light purple right along the edge, pulling across, and I'll just scumble out a little bit right down here. And on the other side. Okay, with a clean brush, titanium white, neon yellow, let's start the first layer of this warm highlight. Now I'm going to pick up some neon orange, titanium white, a little bit of neon yellow in my brush. Now you want to make sure the blue underneath is dry before you do this. We're going to come around the edge, making a nice warm highlight right here. And I'm just going to mix a bit of that orange with cadmium red and dab a little bit in and around here. It's time to start building up this color a little bit more now. Okay, I'm going to start detailing these edges a bit. I'm going to pull a little bit of the cadmium red in here. I just got a little bit of sap green And a little bit of white on my brush with a hint of that red in there. Pull right through for a shadow. And white over that highlight, make it stand out some more. Some more blue. And some dabs of turquoise right here, right up to that red. It looks so pretty together. Okay, let's start adding some more swirls in the sky. Turquoise and white. And just add a little bit of light right in here. And then we're going to wash our brush and switch over to our gold metallic paint. Okay, you can use, I'm using a flat brush or filbert brush right here. Either one will work just fine. We want a clean, dry brush, load the tip of it, and I'm going to start layering over top of each one of these lines for the base of the snow globe. So this is going to make it look like it's either gold or bronze. It gives it that old vintage, old Christmassy feel. And I'm letting the blue or green mix in with it a little bit, so you can mix any color you want with the gold metallic paint and it'll just look like a blue metallic or a green metallic, whatever color you're blending in with it. It's really, really cool. Taking some turquoise and white, I'm going to start working on this blanket of snow down here. Pulling wiggly lines. And then I'm going to take a little bit of that light peachy color and have that reflecting and falling on the snow here as well. So wherever I think that it might be reflecting and just kind of casting down on this snow, I'm going to add it down there, just a light little dry brush of it. And then I'm going to make it a little bit larger up here. Add some bright white right to the middle. And just a little flick of white right around here and in the top. I'm going to blend a little bit of light blue right in here. Scumble a little bit out. And I'm going to wash my brush, go right back to the Phthalo, Sap Green, and Cad Red. Dab a bit more up here. All right, it's time to start pulling in some tree trunks. I'm just using a flat brush or a filbert for this would work. Whatever brush you want to use, you can use a liner. We just need to do 3 or 4 tree trunks in here, or as many as you like. Using Sap Green and Cadmium Red, I'm going to wash that brush and switch over to my mini fan brush now. Picking up those same colors, that dark Sap Green, and I'm going to start tapping very lightly, painting in all these branches and filling these little trees out, one at a time. They're going to be slightly smaller on the very tips of the trees, and then a little bit wider as they get down. Now I'm painting them on a slight curve just because they're in a round globe, and it kind of makes it look, everything kind of looks a little bit roundish, and everything looks a little distorted in there, and it gives it more of that magical, dreamy, whimsical look to it. Okay, those are looking pretty good. Now I want to pick up some white. It's okay if there's a little bit of that turquoise in with the white. No problem at all, as long as it's a nice bright color. We can start adding the snow on these trees. Look at that beautiful light effect we're getting here now. I could do a whole series of snow globes, I think. I just wish I had more time. Who knows, maybe I'll be able to sneak one more in for you guys and for my channel before Christmas is over. We'll see. We'll see how much time I have, but I'm just having so much fun with this today. I would love to do another one. Maybe one with horses in it or a snowman. If I do another one, it's going to be completely different from this though. Okay, I'm just going to keep picking up titanium white and adding more snow. And then we'll start working on the house and more highlights and all the snow and sparkles inside of this snow globe. Now switching over to a very small Filbert brush, no water, I'm going to push and pull into that white, getting a nice ridge of it on the end of my brush to work with, and I can apply a little bit more detail to these trees, a little bit more snow in certain areas so that it looks thicker. I'm just going to pick a few spots here and there. Now, it might be a little bit difficult to do this if your paint is really wet underneath. I always work in a really warm studio when I'm painting so that I'm able to add highlights right away whenever I want to. And that is very helpful and works for me when I'm creating these videos for you guys. We're going to wash that brush out and switch over to a liner brush. I've got one of the smallest ones to work with. I'm going to take some of my neon pink. Again, you can use any pink you have if you don't have this. I'm going to mix it with a bit of titanium white, and I just decided that I wanted to put some Christmas lights on my trees. Again, make sure that the green paint underneath is dry before you do this, or you're going to get a totally different color than pink. And I'm just going to add a hint of that pink up above this tree on the far left and just over. Oh, look how pretty that is. You can mix the pink with cadmium red and that'll look really, really pretty too. Okay, so now I'm going to take some of my light purple violet. This is kind of similar to quinacridone or magenta. And I'm going to add some more depth to that color. And down on the base as well. And just scum below whatever's left of my brush right there. Over top of part of that blue next to that peach. And let's add a few of purple lights to the trees, light purple violet again. And if it doesn't show up, add a little bit more white. And you can add all the colored lights you want onto your trees. I'm not going to do every single color, but I'll be having some yellow, the pink, orange, and that purple violet. Okay, so now I'm going to start the house. I'm going to do that triangle top and then a square right down here. I'm using Phthalo blue and Sap Green for this. Very, very basic house shape. Nothing fancy here, guys. And then a line across right into that tree. Paint that in. Not too much water on your brush at all. And then a line on the top for a roof line. Okay, let's clean our brush. Pull in some titanium white. You want quite a bit to work with. We want to look like this roof is just covered in snow. We'll add a little line of it on the far side, on the far right there, and then a whole bunch of it on this side here. So we're just pulling and dabbing. I'm just going to push and tap right here to make it look like there's so much snow that it's starting to just taper down the edge of the roof line. Okay, just with a little bit of light purpley blue on my brush, I'm going to add an indication of a little path down here. Take some more blue and purple, and I just want to add a little bit more shadow on this part of the sky or background. This will help make it look a little bit more like it's nighttime. And I need it to be a little bit darker back here because I'm going to be having a little chimney with smoke coming out the top, and the smoke is not going to show up unless I have a darker background. And I'm also going to add a few little trees back here. I just decided make it look like this little cabin or cottage is nestled in here even more. It'll just make the atmosphere a bit more cozy. So you can use any little brush you have for this. They're not going to be detailed trees. They're far away behind this house. Using a little bit of Sap Green, a little bit of Phthalo. Cut carefully right above that roof line. And then we'll go for a little bit of titanium white here in a bit and add some snow on those trees. There, I like that a lot better. Okay, so back to a small filbert. Tap very lightly, little bits of snow on each one of these little trees. You might have to reload your brush each time for this. Again, we'll start at the very top, very lightly and carefully. Okay, and we're all done these little trees. Add a little highlight back here, maybe an indication of another tree way back there. And let's scumble in a bit of white right here. Add some more Christmas lights. And I've got peach color right now for my lights. And the Christmas lights are casting some color and light down on the snow, so I'm going to paint a little bit of that snow, just dabbing it carefully with that peachy color. And we'll go ahead and also add some Christmas lights on the roof line. And we'll add some more pink. And maybe tie in some pink and purple over here on the far right in the background. Maybe start swirling some of that color around these orbs and swirls. A little bit more turquoise. Just letting this cabin and the trees dry off a little bit. So it's a good time to go and add some more little swirls wherever we want to in the background. Okay, so it's dried off for a few minutes. I've got a small flat brush, peach, yellow, and white. And we're going to start painting some windows here, making this cabin look even cozier. Where there's a little room way up at the top. And the door right here has a nice big window on it. A few windows here on the other side of the house. Just dabs and pulls with that nice flat straight edged brush. Okay, it's time to start adding another layer of gold down on the base here. And then I'm going to begin with a liner brush, carefully freehanding some swirly designs, giving it that old-fashioned look. You can do any design you want. I just love swirls, so I'm going to incorporate that into this painting. Taking my time to do this carefully, reloading my brush each time, making sure that I have a very fine point liner brush, and I have to reload quite often. So you want to have a lot of patience for this. You may want to practice beforehand if you're not used to painting fine detail. Now as this paint sets and dries, it didn't show up as much as I wanted it to, so later on you'll see me go back and I will be highlighting them, mixing a little bit of white with gold. So that way when it dries, it'll still look nice and bright, but still gold at the same time. Okay, so it's had a little bit to dry, and I'm going to take white with the gold now and redefine these, and as you can see instantly it shows up much better. So I'm going to do these carefully one by one again, and then work up to the next layer all the way up to the top. Okay, so it's time for the next layer, and I don't have as much room because this layer is a little bit thinner, so I'm going to try and stretch them out and make them skinnier and a little bit longer. Okay, so now I'm getting some more cadmium red and a little bit of gold, and I'm going to do some little lines that you can't see very well in this video, but it's supposed to make it look like a log cabin. And then I'm going to do a few little lines for the grid in the window of the door. And now I'll just add a few little lines here for a slight indication that there's maybe some stairs back there. And then I'm going to pick up some red and just dab some red in here. Maybe they've got a poinsettia flower outside or a red ribbon for some Christmas decorations. And then I want to add a little bit more of that peachy glow, that orange, with just a hint of the cadmium red right around that bright white dab there in the middle, and then carry that color over the top a little bit. Now with that liner brush in different colors, any pastel color you can think of, you're going to dab, not dots but dabs, so this makes it look like that snow is moving around. So you're going to go in all different directions, all over the globe, over the house, over the trees. And where it's the brightest, where I have that orange area there, I'm going to dab light blue or light purple for the little pieces of snow and maybe pieces of glitter. Oftentimes there's pieces of glitter that really sparkle inside of the globes, and glitter is a combination of lots of different pastel colors, so that's what we're trying to achieve right here. So any pastel color you want, you can go ahead and dab that on. And I'm going to just start adding a hint of a chimney right here, and then I'll come in with the shadow. Just going to continue while that dries. Hop down here and continue with my little pattern on the base of this snow globe. That's just about done. This is looking really pretty. Let me know what you guys think of this one and leave a comment below. And if you haven't already, please hit subscribe. I love to see my channel growing each week, and give this video a thumbs up if you're enjoying it, if you're learning something, or if you just happen to like watching paint. Just adding a little bit of orange to those windows, and I have also done a reflection, the light from those windows casting down on that snow outside. And then I'll do some yellow lights, some yellow flecks of snow and sparkles. Got some turquoise ones, some pink ones, and just plain white if you want to. We're gonna do our smoke coming out of our chimney here pretty soon. Let's add just a little bit more red up here. Red and pink. Oh, I love that color. So that's a combination of layering red, pink, and that light purple violet. Okay, so it's time to add this smoke coming out of the chimney. You're gonna dab lightly and then push and smush and swirl that light white paint around. And there you go, instant puff of smoke out of there. I don't think I've ever seen smoke coming out of a chimney in a snow globe before, but in my world, there is. Let's continue with these little dots and dabs for the snow and the glitter. Again, using different colors. Got a bit more light pink here. Make sure you do them in different directions. And I'm going to add the last little bit of scroll work that you can barely see. It's just a little thin light pinky gold line. And a little bit more highlights and definition around the edges of the globe. Some more little bluey purplish dots. And scumbling right in there. That purpley blue looks really complementary with that light peachy pink. Okay, some more swirls. And I'm just using some phthalo, some turquoise. Just a light flick of soft white right up there. I'm just gonna start to blend around a little bit of turquoise and white, very dry brush, just to make it look like it's a little bit blurrier back there. And then I'm going to dab a little bit of turquoise right in side of part of this red. A little bit of phthalo added to that turquoise. Again, dry brush, just blending softly. Soft little circles. I'm just going to build up a little bit of shadow right here, a little bit more contrast in these layers. You can use any dark color that you've got on your palette, purple, phthalo, sap green, or all of them if you want. And add a little bit more shadow and definition to that edge on either side, right at the base. Okay, and now I'm going to add a little bit of sap green, phthalo, maybe a little bit of red in there for some more shadow on the branches in the tree, just to make the snow and everything stand out a little bit more. We just need a little bit more contrast. Okay, it's time to finish up the foreground, adding the last bit of light and shadow on the snow. So we're going to use a mixture of white with neon orange or any orange you've got. You can add a bit of yellow if you want. Then I'm going to take some white, some turquoise, and start pulling in some lines and bits of snow above to make it look like that's behind the snow globe. And then just soften right above. Soft little circles. And we're going to add some light peachy little orbs and swirls up here, making little ones smaller and smaller. You can use a filbert, a small flat, a round brush. So many options here for brushes to use to create this effect. I'm picking up some pink now, and I'm gonna pull in some little pink swirls very softly with that peach and white. Just use your imagination and make any shade of pastel you want, and just start layering and adding some of them into the background. It'll all look really, really pretty together. And then I always try to incorporate each one of those colors wherever I can inside this globe. So a little line here, a little dab. I'm going to add more hot pink mixed with a little bit of cadmium red. Right on the left there, and then blend it in slightly, and then add just a little bit down here. Switch over to a very small liner brush, and I'm going to finish the final detail on this scroll back to the white and the gold. I'm going to add a slight little shadow underneath these scrolls using phthalo blue and cadmium red and the sap green. The darkest color that I can make with the colors on my palette is what I'm going to be using here. And then back to the highlight. Now that I've finished those scrolls on the base, I'm going to add a little bit of detail to a door here. I'm using cadmium red and gold for this, just a few little lines, and then adding a little bit of snow, indication of snow on some steps there. So I'm still not happy with the shade of pink I've got up here, so I want to add some more, just because the acrylic paint is drying darker over that red. So I want to add a few more little areas here of that bright neon pink. There, that's really popping out now nicely. Clean brush, back to turquoise, straight, thick, heavy body paint right here, no water. Right up against where that pink and red are for a nice contrast and complementary colors. Now I'm going to sneak in some little bit of color in these areas between the scroll and the next layer of scrolls there, just for some color. You can use any one of these colors you like for this. Okay, I thought I was done with the pink, but apparently not. I'm adding just a little bit more here. And then I'm going to add a little filter very lightly in and around this peachy yellow area. Okay, I think I'm done with the pink. Now, with a clean liner brush or a very small round brush, I'm going to do little dabs and then blend them lightly with the tip of my finger, just for some little stars or snowflakes back there. I want them to look soft and hazy, so I'm going over them with my finger and then blending them out with a brush. I'm going to add a few more down here as well. I'm adding some phthalo right in here. I want a little bit more contrast in between those two colors. And back to some little dabs of snow and sparkles. All different colors, yellow, white, turquoise, and some even down in here. And a little bit more white down here at the bottom, mixed with some turquoise, maybe a little bit of peach. Finish up these little blended out swirls and circles. Adding a bit of turquoise right here. Again, a bit of turquoise. Almost finished. Again, picking up a little bit of pink, a little bit of pink and white. And a little bit of peach. Look how easy it is to create this glowing effect. And just like that, this painting is all done. I want to thank you guys so much again for joining me in my studio today. I wish you a wonderful day, happy painting. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment below, and subscribe. Thanks again. I'll see you next time, everybody.